9 weeks ago, I started running slower to rebuild my aerobic base. Today, I'm going to review the data from those 9 weeks and see what changed with my heart rate, my pace, my running mechanics, and also my body's ability to handle that mileage. The headline result is this. I'm now running 21 seconds per kilometer faster at the exact same average heart rate that I was 9 weeks ago. So yes, base training worked. Here's what the 9 weeks changed, what they didn't change, and what happened when I finally started to run hard again. Here's what 9 weeks of base training in total look like for me. 28 runs, just under 157 kilometers of running, which took more than 20 hours to complete. Plus, on top of that, I did 104 kilometers of walking. And I progressed from one injury-limited run in week 1 to repeated 3 and 4 week runs in weeks, I think 6 and 7, and my first 10-kilometer long run of this return to running, which is actually the longest consistent, no walk breaks run that I have ever done. Even going back to my training in 2013, I always did walk breaks. So the longest consistent run of my running career. But these numbers only tell me how much work I actually completed. Let's look at some comparisons so we can see how much all of that work actually improved my fitness. By week 8, I was handling more than 4 times the running volume. My weighted average pace was 30 seconds per kilometer faster, and my average heart rate only increased by 1 beat. 30 seconds faster, 1 beat more. Now that doesn't mean this is a perfect one-to-one aerobic comparison yet, but it does show a major increase in capacity. But the matched base runs give much cleaner evidence that the base training has worked. I found 2 comparable base runs. The first one I did in week 3. I ran 3.62 kilometers at an average pace of 8:20 per kilometer. My average heart rate for that run was 148 beats per minute. Then, during week 8, I completed another base run at exactly the same average heart rate. Same route, 148 beats per minute again. But this time, my pace was 7:59 per kilometer. That's 21 seconds per kilometer faster at exactly the same average heart rate. Now, there's always variables in an outdoor run, so obviously I'm not going to say that this is any sort of laboratory level controlled experiment, but it is very strong evidence that my aerobic efficiency has improved. And my body's producing more speed at the same average cardiovascular effort. And that's exactly what we want to get from a base phase. Then I found 2 runs that compare how my body has improved in its ability to handle heat. And I find this analysis even more convincing. These runs were almost identical in distance. They were on the same route, and my pace only differed by 1 second per kilometer. On both runs, I recorded a maximum temperature of 34 degrees Celsius. But during the week 7 run, my heart rate was 6 beats lower. That's insane. These are, as much as you can on an outdoor run, very well controlled comparison. And I'm 6 beats lower for the same distance, same pace, same temperature. So cool. And beyond just being cool, it really means a lot to me when I see these numbers, and when I'm out running now and I look at the paces I'm going and my heart rate. It means so much because 9 weeks really isn't a long time, but with what my body's gone through for the past 5 years, I'm so happy with the amount of improvement that I've achieved over these 9 weeks. So yeah, 10 out of 10 would recommend base training. Let's carry on though. The cardiovascular numbers aren't the only thing moving in the right direction. From week 1 to week 8, my average cadence also increased slightly. I am naturally a very slow turnover type of runner. Even in 2013, I think for even my PB runs, I think my cadence was around a 172. Right now I'm averaging about a 161. So I naturally just plod along. I have a crazy long, slow, low P pace. So over this time, from week 1 to week 8, my cadence increased slightly. My average stride length increased by about 5%, and my average ground contact time decreased by about 15 milliseconds, which in terms of running form is a really good improvement. So I'm very, very happy with that. Now, I've only talked about the good here, but I'm still me. It wasn't all smooth. Between weeks 5 and 6, my weekly running jumped from 15.53 kilometers to 23.64. That's a 52% increase in 1 week. If you are following along, you know that I know that we shouldn't really increase our mileage more than 10% each week. And I, do as I say, not as I do sort of situation. 52% increase that's not a smart move, guys. Don't do it. Don't do it. And that brings us to week 9, which was my recovery week or deload week, depending on which term you prefer. I reduced my runs last week to 13.57 kilometers, which is a 39% reduction from week 8. And by the end of it, I felt rested, strong, and ready to begin my build phase. Possibly a little bit too ready and a little too encouraged by Garmin, which reduced my 5K predicted time down to 29:53. And I know before anyone tells me in the comments, a Garmin prediction isn't a race result, but I will say that in my past, and even in the 5K I did earlier this year, it has been very accurate to date, so I'm genuinely excited by this. So yeah, after 9 weeks of base building, getting some awesome data in week 8, and hugely encouraging results from my Garmin last week, I was super, super pumped to begin build phase this week, and I properly Samantha'd it. It's Monday. Today's workout is 35 minutes with 15 minutes in my threshold, which is apparently a pace of 5:50 per kilometer. I spent the last 9 weeks focused on building up my aerobic base, and today we're going to test if that aerobic base can help me run faster. Third of the way done. This is hard. Oh, I've never wanted to stop something so badly in my life. 1 minute, 40 seconds. Just have to count to 104. 40, 30, oh god, we can do our things. Yes, so loud. But I did it, oh my god, I did it. So much sunscreen in my eyes, guys. It hurts so bad. I can't see. I'm running down a road and I'm like blinded. If any of you know of a sunscreen that can get in your eyeballs and not blind you, pop it in the comments. Did I have to work hard for that? Yeah, I fogged up my own glasses. And this is where the Samantha comes into play. So I nailed that first threshold run on Monday, and I know better than this, but a couple of days later, Garmin told me to do the exact same run again. I don't know why, and I know that's illogical, but for some reason, probably because of all of the energy I built up during my deload week, and Garmin now telling me I could do a 29:43, so just, another 10 seconds off, I decided that, that would be a good idea. I should go do another 15 minutes of 5:50 pace and see how that works out for me. Oh, it was really hard. My left kidney really hurt, so I don't think my hydration was very good today. It's really funny though, because I started off super strong. I had my first warm-up kilometer to 6:43, which is supposed to be a 7:05. So by the time I started, probably already done about 5 minutes in my target zone of 5:50, and by about 10 minutes, I just wanted to barf. And my left kidney was super, super sore. And for this second session, I could immediately feel the difference between being fit enough to complete a workout and being fully recovered from everything else I'd already done in the week. But I completed it. It was hard. I didn't get the 5:50, but I didn't give up. I did push for the whole 15 minutes. Oh, that was way too hard. It did not work out well for me. Okay, I'm back. And it definitely cost me more than Monday's session did. Or I was still absorbing Monday's session and I didn't have it in my legs or mentally, I think, to just keep pushing. Everything started to fail. Like my kidneys, my lung, everything. My body pulled every single stop to get me to stop doing what I was doing. And that gave me my first real look into what this phase is going to require and what I shouldn't do. AKA, when Garmin gives me something ridiculous to do, I should not do it. And I know this. I made a short about this in I want to say week 3. I did not make the mature choice. I made the fun choice. And yeah, I paid for it. had every intention of going for a long run, but there's no way I'm running in my Novablasts in that. And I'm actually quite proud of this decision because it sounds lazy after Wednesdays deciding to stay sitting on the couch. It's Wednesday. I have been editing all morning and watching YouTube, which I can now call studying, so that's fun. I am feeling quite tired. My legs aren't super happy with me, so I think I'm gonna have a proper rest day today. Seems very luxurious, but I think I'm gonna do it. And, deciding that it was raining too hard to go for a run on Sunday, but I'm proud of that choice. And I know I quickly referenced the Novablasts there, but seriously, if you haven't tried running on Novablasts, or I'm assuming any of the new type of running shoe that has barely any lug treads on them, they are lethal. It's like ice. I almost died going through the water station. I don't know how the pros run through I guess they're running through before the rest of us come through and make a huge mess. But any sort of wet pavement with those shoes, it's a safety risk for your hips. Safety risk. So anywho, the good news is the base build gave me enough fitness to complete 2 really hard threshold sessions. Those are sessions done at paces that I simply couldn't even have held for about 5 minutes in week 1. And I held 15 minutes in the first session and around 12 minutes in the second session at 550, which is awesome. Awesome. The week did expose, though, that I still have to learn how much time my body needs to recover and to absorb these hard sessions before I can do another one. The challenge for me now is building a week that includes hard sessions, strength training, and building it in such a way that I can actually absorb it, recover, and come back stronger next week. It definitely means continuing to protect those easy runs and continuing to prioritize easy runs as well. Just because I'm done the base phase doesn't mean I don't want to continue pulling up on that easy run lever. My goal after I PB my 5K is quite simply to PB my 10K. So I really need to be continuing to work on those endurance runs and the long runs and making sure that those are kept easy. And it means being able to recognize and respect when I've done enough for the week and not to feel guilty when I make that decision. 9 weeks ago, I wanted to know if slowing down could make me a better runner. The answer is yes. I'm running faster at the same average heart rate. I can run at the same pace at similar temperatures with a meaningfully lower heart rate. I built enough durability to progress from 1 run in week 1 to 4 runs in week 8 and did my longest ever continuous run, 10 kilometers without a walk break. I'm really proud of myself. So I'm calling this base phase a resounding success. Not because every week was perfect, not because we've ended with a Garmin prediction of 29:53, and not because I completed every single run that I had programmed into my calendar, because I definitely did not. It was successful because my body adapted, because I learned from the weeks that went well and from the weeks that didn't go well, and because I'm beginning my build phase as a stronger, more efficient, more confident runner than the one who started this process back in week 1. The base is built. Now let's see what we can build on top of it.